friend, and welcome to the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today, we are hacking sales with Max Altschuler. What a cool dude, still a young guy, getting stuff done. An author of a book, popular website, lots of traffic, lots of business. We conducted this interview while he was chilling in the Hamptons. So, things seem to be going his way. So you are in for a treat. We're going to get into his history at Udemy, what he thinks about metrics and analyzing and MVPs, how he delegates, how he leverages to grow. So you're in for a treat. If you need additional help one-on-one with yours truly, in a quite affordable manner, might I add. Not like some of these other sales coaches who want to charge you $25,000 for 1 year, where they give you this typo-laden document. It's killing me. I just saw this. I literally just saw this working with a client. Now, fortunately, the typo-laden, riddled document was their phase 2 that they were trying to get you to then move to the phase 3 for $25,000. But I don't know. How can you have something that messed up and justify charging that much? But hey, I digress. That's not me. I charge reasonable money for exceptional advice, but the prices will be going up because of demand. So will you just please jump in now? Digdeep.today. Let's spend some time together. You'll get my questionnaire. We'll review it. We'll get on a call. We'll record it. We will dig deep today. So sign up now, digdeep.today, and let's help you grow for tomorrow. Now, let's bring on Max. Max Altschuler, chilling like a villain in the Hamptons. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you? And don't worry about the dog. I got a big dog. That's life.
Yeah, she freaks out at all the different sounds out here, but life is good. I got both dogs with me here, and excited to be here with you.
Okay, man. So this is the question that will set the tone for the rest of your life, or at least the next 30 minutes. What kind of dogs? It sounded like one of those little dogs. Yep.
I got 2 King Charles Cavaliers. So it's a spaniel.
I don't even know what those are. So it's kind of like a Cocker Spaniel, you said?
Yeah, exactly. Like a Cocker.
Cool.
Similar.
We used to actually breed those back in Texas when I was a kid. So those are cool dogs.
Yeah, they're sweet. They're very versatile. So like when you want to hang out, watch a movie, they'll come up and cuddle with you. When you want to like go for a hike in the mountains or go for a swim or anything like that, I put them on the paddle boards. They want to be active, so it's a good time.
That's cool. So man, what is this sales hacking? What hacking sales? The playbook for building a high velocity sales machine. Hacking sales.
Yeah.
What the heck is that all about? Can I really hack sales? Are you saying I'm doing this all wrong?
I'm saying that there are so many different technologies being built for salespeople today, way more than ever before. So using that to your advantage is kind of a way of hacking sales. We've had what? We've had the phone, we've had email, face-to-face. You've had, your CRM, but there hasn't been too much other sales technology built. And now, it's a whole nother level. There's machine learning and natural language processing. There's business process outsourcing, virtual assistants you can leverage. There's, all sorts of apps that can streamline your sales process in a way where you can do more with less than ever before. And so, the theory around sales hacking is, when we started, we were helping startups try and build scalable sales machines, and they don't have the resources that big companies do. They are not allowed to bloat their sales teams and overhire and just throw people and dollars at it and spend the kind of money that some of these people are spending on their on their marketing budgets. They need to find ways to do it in a hackier way. And so we're just trying to facilitate knowledge between the people who are doing it in a modern manner and people who are still doing it kind of the old school way.
Right. So is there something in particular that you work on? Are you is this an emphasis on social media, or are you just looking at the landscape in general and saying, all right, it's 2017. You don't have to just blindly pick up a cold call or knock on the door and say, hey, I was in the area. Do you want to buy some software?
Yeah, it's a lot about the access to the information that you have. So buyer has a lot more information at their fingertips, but so do you as a seller. So how do you prepare better and almost pre-qualify people before getting on the call with them? I remember reading about cold calling and calling people, when I first got into sales, and there was the way that people were doing it just seemed like it was okay. You had to get on a call to qualify someone. They had the, BANT and ONM, like budget, authority, need, and timing. And you would do that on a discovery call and then, have a follow-up call to show them your software. And you just don't need to do that anymore. You can skip that completely because you can find all that information on the internet. You can pre-qualify people using BANT, or ONM right now and figure out if they have budget, who the authority is, if they have a need, and if it's the right timing, using things like Crunchbase and PitchBook IQ and government filings for the amount of funding they have or the amount of money, the cash in the bank that they have. You can find the authority using LinkedIn and a couple other pieces of software. You can find out anything you want about the individual using social and other pieces of software like Charlie app. But there's so much information that you can find out before you get on a phone call with these people, or you email these people, so you can connect in a much better way, much faster, and get right to the meat that you want. When you spend that time on that call with somebody, you better make that important. If you're going to hit them with questions to see if they're a fit for you, that just seems very at least our generation doesn't buy like that. And in the next 5 years, 70% of the workforce will be millennial or Gen Z, something like that. So I don't know. You got to adapt.
What are you doing? Are you squeezing me out of the workplace, man? Hey, I got stuff still to do.
You got plenty of time. You're in that other 30%.
So can you get too much information? I mean, can salespeople get bogged down in research and never make the call?
Definitely. Yeah, you got to draw the line somewhere. Obviously, you don't want to be going into there's two different too much researches. There's are you wasting time doing too much research? Or what is the right level of information that you need before it's like, okay, we've gone overboard here. And then there's the other area of okay, you maybe went into an area that you shouldn't talk about in sales. There's no reason to bring up what you see on somebody's Facebook feed or their kids, or their wife or anything like that, if you never met this person before. There are some sensitive areas that maybe you shouldn't be, just shouldn't be talking about. And then there are the other areas of social that do help you, where it's, okay, I can find things that, like you said, when we first started talking today, you alluded to my alma mater, Arizona State. That's something that, that's not too much information. That's something that I can bond with somebody over because we went to the same college or came from the same hometown or know the same people. So that information helps you get in the door.
Right.
Big time.
So like me personally, my Facebook profile is public, right? So you can see pictures of the kids and the dogs and everything else. But you're saying it might still be taboo if somebody says, hey, I see you like Labrador retrievers.
If it's public, no.
Okay.
But if they have to do any sleuthing, yeah. And dogs are different. Like dogs, people will talk about all the time. If you said, hey, you got cute kids, you'd probably be like, thanks, but this is a little too far. I don't even know who you are.
My Instagram is private. How'd you know that?
Yeah, exactly.
So what's your background in this? Did you jump right into sales right out of college? Did you start a business?
Yeah, I started 2 out of college. Both learned a lot from, but couldn't turn into anything substantial. So I was always on the entrepreneurial track. Was always into sales, and I ended up at a company called Udemy, online education marketplace.
Sure.
Took them through their seed A and B rounds of funding. I built out the supply side of that marketplace. So a lot of the stuff that we preached originally when we started Sales Hacker was stuff that I had built personally at Udemy.
Oh, cool.
So it was, again, leveraging virtual assistants in the sales process. We were, some of the first users of a lot of these new, sales automation technologies. we were really analytical about, measuring almost everything in the sales process, probably over measured in some areas, but, we wanted to track our click-through rates, our connect rates, our open rates, reply rates, positive response rates, all those different things. We A/B tested every email, subject lines, body, everything for every different segment that we went after. We were really targeted with our lead lists and our segmenting and building out our ideal customer profile, and then pulling that back and saying, okay, well, here's our total addressable market. Here's how we segment this down. So we were very analytical. And I think like that's a huge part of sales these days is, if you're a Lone Ranger sales rep, like you're a smooth talker, I'm sure you'll do just fine. But if you're an organization, you need to be more analytical. There is so much more technology out there to help you be more analytical. And it's the only way to forecast properly. And it's the only way to hit your goals is to be analytical about how you sell today.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because what it sounded like you were wearing two hats, sales and marketing, because you're throwing out a bunch of marketing terms, especially digital marketing. So was that your main focus or were you also sales?
We were all sales.
Okay.
So the way that we did it was just from an analytical perspective. So, if you're sending out sales emails, you need to be tracking is your subject line performing or is it not performing? I mean, this is something that you're trying to get in the door. You're trying to either get a warm call set up or have them answer a quick question for you so you can qualify them. If you're sending those emails and you're losing them immediately because they won't even open it because your subject line sucks, that's something you should test and know right away. Otherwise, you are blowing your first touch every time. They have in advertising. I think a lot of buyer psychology and marketing definitely relates to sales. So in advertising, they have I think it's the rule of effective frequency or the law of sevens, which is it takes 7 touches to recognize somebody's brand. So if you see like the McDonald's Golden Arches 7 times and then you saw like a quarter of that logo, you would know that was McDonald's because you had seen it 7 times. 7 times is the number. So if you're reaching out to somebody and you have a cadence and it's maybe, you're going to email them, you're going to call them, you're going to ping them on Twitter, you're going to ping them on LinkedIn. Like these are all touches. If this person is going through their inbox, even if they're looking at your email, or even if they're passing your email and marking it as read or deleting it, they're still seeing your name there. So eventually, it's going to register. If you continually contact them and leave your name and number and all this stuff, and then 3 months later they hear your name through a referral, they're going to be, oh, where do I know that name from? That sounds familiar. And that's much better than like, oh, I don't know who that person is.
Right.
But it's just another touch point. You need to make sure all of that is highly optimized and efficient. And yeah, sure, there's the over optimization and the over testing, the over measuring. But I'd rather be on that side than, not doing it at all and clearly winging it and then not knowing where my next meal is going to come from because I can't forecast anything.
Yeah. But Max, I'm just, one of 5 sales pukes here, man. I don't have access to that. I can't split test headlines. I mean, I'm just trying to set an appointment, man. I mean, does this even really apply to me? Should I just delete this podcast? You
should definitely. You don't even have to invest in this stuff. I mean, it's probably like $4 or $5 a month for some of it. There's a lot of free versions of these, pieces of software. I got the entire book, Hacking Sales, has, most of them listed. Obviously, there's new ones coming out every day, but some of it's not extra money. Some of it, listen, if you really want to make more money as a salesperson, sit down on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning and start teaching yourself how to use some of these technologies. But it's really no extra financial commitment, or at least not material. And if you really, really put the time in and figure out how to use these new technologies, you're going to save a lot of time and you're going to make a lot more money.
Hey, that's my company's job, man. They should pay that $4 a month.
They should. And if you're a good salesperson, you'll be able to make the case.
Oh, snap. There goes that objection, people. If you're really good. Isn't it funny how when they make the sale, it's because they're a great salesperson, and when they lose the sale, it's the company's fault. It's the pricing. It's the features. It's the marketing collateral wasn't very good. The PowerPoint wasn't up to date. It had a typo. So it's always somebody else's fault, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of reasons why your company should invest in their salespeople, and obviously the number one reason is they're going to make a lot more money out of it. But if you're at a company where your company doesn't want to invest in you, your career, your future, and making more money for the company, I mean, it might be time to find another company that will. Right.
So you had some success at Udemy, and then what made you go out on your own?
So I actually did Udemy. They recently raised the $120 million Series D.
Wow.
We'll probably IPO soon. So that was a success. Went from there to a company called Attorney Fee, built a supply side, and actually managed both sides of the marketplace there in a business development role, VP of business development. And then we sold them to LegalZoom. And after that, I was like, okay, don't want to work for anybody else anymore. Want to go do my own thing. Wanted to take my time though. So I did our first Sales Hacker Conference in 6 weeks by myself. And we pulled like $60K profit out of it. I was like, okay, that was a good 6 weeks. I got some runway on, what I want to do next. So kind of just started feeling around, looking at other SaaS companies, looking at, my options, and said to myself, well, why don't I do this for another year? And, the pros are, you can make some good money on it and build a really awesome network and learn a lot from other people. And then, be patient with the next opportunity. And if it works out really well, then keep it going. So it started to snowball, and every year opportunities open up. And, we've got a massive partnership with Salesforce. We've done meetups in 32 cities globally. Our list is growing like crazy. And we're doing our first Europe conference in September. So, it's working. I wrote the book. Hacking Sales, so can't complain.
There you go. So how did when was the first time you had the Sales Hacker Conference?
September of 2013 was our first event. 300 people in San Francisco.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Just word of mouth. I mean, you just hacked the conference.
Yeah, I mean, we eat our own dog food. We figured out a way to get in touch with directors and VPs of sales at venture-backed hyper-growth companies, and got them to the conference.
And that was what, November, you said, 2013?
September 2013.
September. And then, so was it more pressure to repeat?
Oh, yeah. When you do the first one, you have nothing to lose.
Right.
It's just an experiment. It's a project. It's like, yeah, let's see how this goes.
Right.
And once you've done the first one, and now people expect it to keep going. I mean, I remember on the first one, I had to open up an LLC to accept like a sponsor's check because it wasn't like a real company. I sold a 10K sponsorship to the first event to like a real big company, and they were just like, all right, well, like, who do we pay? And I'm like, oh shit, like they can't pay me personally. So I had to open up an LLC.
Pay me, brother. I'll drive down. I accept large bills, small bills, pennies. It's all good.
There you go. So, we've always had to, as a small business, you have like a finance team and you have a design team and all that kind of stuff. And it ends up being like one person who's part-time, but you have to fake it till you make it,
All right. So let's walk through that. So here's Max hanging out in San Francisco. You get a wild hair. You say, I'm going to have a conference. It's going to be the Sales Hacker Conference. And then you call this company or put the word out and you go, yeah, brand new conference. I don't know if one person will show up or 1,000 or 1,000,000, but it's $10,000 to be a sponsor. I mean, walk me through that iteration because that just sounds awesome.
Hey,
there we go. We're back.
We're back. He said, I don't know if I lost you. I don't know if one person will show up or 1,000.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like you're having this conversation and you think, yeah, let me tell somebody that a first time conference at 6 weeks from now is worth $10,000. How does that go?
So before I started the conference, while I was still working at Udemy, I started a kind of an invite only meetup like a sales hacker meetup. And so we would sit down, and it was like 4 of us to start. And we would sit down and just talk about all this like crazy hacky stuff we were doing with, building lists through Python and building scrapers and using a lot of this like new technology to our advantage. And it was me and 3 other guys that were running companies in the space. And that group grew, and it was basically like invite people, only bring people that will add value to the conversation. So it grew to like 20 people. So when I left on the LegalZoom acquisition, coincidentally, I had a meetup like 2 days later, and I said to the group, hey, who here would be interested if we did this as a conference? And in that room, I had a couple smaller sponsors and like 6 really top-notch speakers. So Jason Lemkin, who was the CEO of EchoSign that sold to Adobe, which now runs SaaStr. Who else was in there? Doug Landis, who was the VP of Sales Productivity at Box at the time. Armando Mann, who was the VP of Sales and Success at Relate IQ at the time, before they sold to Salesforce for like $390 million. Matt Cameron, who was the VP of Global Sales for Yammer at the time. So I had some really like big name speakers, like legit folks. And I had built a little bit of a network from, doing these meetups, from my time at Udemy and writing about it. And all these guys who were speaking, because it was like this indie conference and there wasn't anything like it, were very happy to help me, promote it to their networks.
Right.
So, obviously a big company that, cut me that first check probably heard about it through someone like that and was like, oh, this is legit. They're going to get some real people here. And honestly, like we had 300 people there, and it was super high quality audience. It was all VPs of sales, directors. Like it was really good because we had these people bringing their friends. Right. And we charged, we maybe charged like $250 or $300 a ticket or something like that. So
was it like a 1-day event, 2-day event?
It was a 1-day event. It was, we were like, I was only promising like 100 people, and ended up being 300.
Nice.
But for we see tech companies right now with, big marketing budgets, they'll spend $20,000 to get in front of 60 high quality VPs of sales.
Right.
They know their average deal size, and they know their conversion rate, and they know, they're probably out of those 60 VPs of sales, they probably have, 5 to 10 of those already in their pipeline. Mm-hmm. So if that event will help them close one of them, they're going to make 3x their money anyway. So, they're very happy with that. I mean, I think most companies are pretty happy with like 1-to-1, as long as they can get their mony back.
Right.
They built awareness and all these other things. So, and that's just, if they can prove the ROI on it. So, events are big business.
Yeah, but Max, I'm in Tucson, I'm in Des Moines, I'm in San Antonio, I'm in Pensacola, Florida. People won't spend that kind of money to come to a conference in Pensacola, Florida.
So it also doesn't cost you as much to do a conference in Pensacola.
There you go.
Price it less.
Right.
The difference between a conference the price of a conference in San Francisco and the price of a conference in Pensacola is you're probably looking at 7 to 10x the cost. So you think about it, a $300 ticket in San Francisco is only $30 in Pensacola.
That's because Baton Rouge has good tap water. San Francisco, you got to have that filtered glacier from the Paleolithic era melted. That stuff costs money.
There's been a drought for the last 5 years, but I think we've made a comeback.
Hey, the drought's over, man. It's all good. Yeah. It's all good. Trust me. I live here. Drought's over. Yeah. But I love what happened there, that dynamic, because back in 2000, I was working with a recruiting firm, and we recruited, we helped veterans that were leaving the service, and we helped them get a job in corporate America. I was on the sales side, so I would land the corporations to come to our conferences. So I'd have to find the companies that were hiring and convince them to come to the conference. And there was a group, I was in Austin, there was a group in Dallas of academy grads that were meeting, had a monthly luncheon. And 20, 30 people, high caliber human beings. And I was like, how come there's not an event in Austin? The guy was like, go ahead and start one. Right. And so I had access to a database. I had a part-time assistant I shared in the company. I said, find everybody within 50 miles of Austin. And there were like 400 people. And we sent an invitation out to come to lunch. 55 people showed up. Right. And I got recruited into technology sales from that group. I got recruited by a client. It changed my life. I mean, got into high tech, made a lot of money. but I started a group, right? I didn't just sit around. Yeah, I was cold calling. I was like, I can keep cold calling, or I can find a group and bring people to me. So it's kind of that same thing, right? I mean, just get started. You're going to put in the effort one way or another, right, to make your sales. So, you can carry that pail of water, right, back and forth, or you can build a pipeline.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep, that's awesome. So what's like a parting word of wisdom you'd have for our listeners? I mean, we're going to link to your book. I've got it pulled up here. You got 6 limited time bundle offers. So we'll link to that, but can you share like a little secret, a little nugget, kind of whet their appetite, something they could put to use maybe right now, like literally pause the podcast, go do this one thing.
For me, it was, I loved being in sales, but I also loved being an entrepreneur. And, I knew that you're only really going to make like big time money if you own the business. And so I think like that one thing is, if you're like me, start testing things. That first event was a test. I didn't know that it was going to turn into this, but it was an easy, MVP version, minimal viable product, version of, a business that I could potentially do on my own and leverage my skill sets, which was selling. So, if I was, listening to this right now, I mean, what are some of the things you can do to leverage your skill sets and start your own business? A couple easy things that come to mind are arbitrage. Like, go look at marketplaces. For example, my first business second business out of college was a social media business. So I would go on companies like Fiverr and Odesk at the time, but Upwork now, and find people in India and Bangladesh and the Philippines that can do work for social media accounts and build out iframes and WordPress sites. And then I'd put up a site. I'd go out and find people I could sell to, people that were advertising on Facebook, people that had stores on Facebook, things like that. And I'd sell them services, and then get the people in, India or Bangladesh or whatever to do the work and just manage them. And then so you can sell it to somebody in the US for, $1,500 a month, and it costs you $250 a month.
Oh, but Max, they're not as good as me. I have to do the graphic. I have to do the logo work. I have to do the computer programming.
It's up to you to find the guys.
Nobody can code Python like me, man. Ruby on Rails, I'm the bomb.
Yeah, you're top 1%?
Top 0.1%.
What are you doing sitting here with me?
Because somebody beat me. They were better.
We get them next time.
So are you saying it's better to outsource stuff and not just do it all yourself?
Yes.
No way.
Oh yeah.
Shut the front door.
That's actually the number one reason why people ever get stuck at like a ceiling financially, is because they don't know how to delegate, and like your time is finite. Right. You can't, at a certain point, you got no more of it. So if you can't figure out how to make more of it, manufacture more of it, then you're screwed.
And I think, if I understood correctly, the way we opened up, I mean, you started a couple of little things on the side or on your own, right? And they didn't work, and that's what led you to Udemy, and then doing whatever, and then back to your own thing, right?
Yeah. So I failed the first two, and then I got experience working with people who knew what they were doing, and then when I went to do it again, I succeeded.
Right. I mean, were you beating yourself up? Were you like, let me just go to the bar and drown my sorrows? I'm lowly. I'm dirt. I'm no good. Oh, woe is me.
When you don't know, like the first couple times you fail, you beat yourself up over it. And then once you realize that almost every time you fail, one, you get to learn some incredible things from it. Two, it almost always ends up in a better situation somewhere. Right. Like it's just a chapter in a long novel.
Right.
So you just gotta own it. I think the key to failure is, own your mistakes. Don't ever make excuses. Don't ever say, oh, it's the market's fault. Oh, it's this person didn't understand it, blah, blah. Like when you're in sales and you lose a deal, if you sit there and say like, oh, they just didn't get it, that's an excuse, and you're not going to learn anything from that. But if you say, why did they get it? Oh, I should have done this instead of this. Like, now I know when I'm dealing with somebody that has this type of personality, I have to come in with this way instead of this way. See, you had the same outcome, but in one way you learned from it and you're going to do better next time and it won't happen again, hopefully. And the other way you didn't learn from it, you're going to keep making that same stupid mistake. So you can either learn from it and do better next time, or you can make an excuse, not learn anything from it. And then you're just going to be sitting in that same holding pattern your entire life because you just don't know how to deal with failure.
No way, man. Those customers are just too dumb. If they're not smart enough to see the wisdom of my genius, then they don't have the right to buy from me. So there.
Yep. And those people will keep spinning their wheels.
Spinning round and round. All right, man. Where do we send people to find out about you, to get your book, all that good stuff?
Yeah. So personal site is maxalts.com, maxalts.com. Books at hackingsales.com. And then definitely sign up at saleshacker.com, which is our media company. And we've got a really good blog, webinars, conferences there for all kinds of education. We basically just bring in VPs of sales and C-level sales execs from hypergrowth companies and Fortune 500 companies to tell you what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool. And you say do you have partners now, or how are you structured?
We've got about 20 employees now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, we outsource stuff to the Philippines. We got a team out there. We've been hiring recently to work on some new initiatives, and we're bootstrapped. So we put money back into the business, and we're able to grow through that.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will link to that as well in your book. So, man, thanks for taking time from your cooling off up north to come on the Sales Podcast. It's been great.
Yeah, stay cool over there. What is it, 120 right now?
Man, 82 degrees, and we're getting up to, today, only 95. So a piece of cake,
That's not
man.
bad. That's not
Got
bad.
the windows open.
It's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat. All right, man. Thank you, sir. This has been great.
Thank you.
All right, dude. Have a great day.
Take care.
Access and leverage and what's that? Prepare better before you get on the phone? You don't say. If only there was a, sales training program, a sales coach, a sales mentor that actually has done sales over the phone and in person for many years, for decades even, and done it well, and is still doing it well, and is offering an affordable way to do that and work with him to learn his ways. If only there was a way. Hacking Sales. Max was talking to me, speaking my language. If you need help leveraging what he's talking about and doing it affordably, please hurry. Please. I'm raising my prices. I'm telling you. I'm also going to change the Make Every Sale from a lifetime access to an annual. So you do want to jump into that before that happens. You can join Make Every Sale right now, makeeverysale.com. Head on over there and join now, won't you? And then you will have lifetime access, daily access to the entire membership there. I pretty much chime in on every comment or question, so it's almost like getting one-on-one help from the sales whisperer himself. I don't know how else to make myself available, accessible at that kind of price. So please do it, makeeverysale.com. Then leave a 5-star review on this. Help us grow. I'll help you grow. Everybody grows. Make more money. Life is good. Hey, thanks for listening. And as always, please remember to sell different.